I'm reading this, and I still think at this point I'm going to read, and Cody calls his shot with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So we get the whoa break, come back. Cody addresses the crowd and Roman and says, "What do you got want to talk about?"
You might as well say it like that from now on. For all his credibility remains. Do whatever the hell you like.
He says, I kind of imagine this conversation taking place privately. Can the bloodline kind of piss off? Roman considers and dismisses Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. Heyman's in there still. Cody says he took counsel from friends, family, and legends before he's saying, basically, I had you at WrestleMania, Roman, and I think you know it. Seth made a lot of great points. But the one I disagree with is saying that your title, Roman, is the Hollywood title. Call it whatever you want, but that's the title that Bruno Sammartino held, the one that Dusty had in his hands before it was taken away. Cody still wants that title. He asks what finishing the story is. Roman's claimed all of this is his. The ropes, the ring, the cameraman, the people all belong to Roman Reigns. Finishing the story isn't taking the title from Roman, it's taking everything from him. So let's make this clear. Cody wants that title, but he also wants everything, not just that title. But not at WrestleMania.
What?
He's taken counsel, and one of the people he spoke to knows Roman very well. And The Rock's music hits, and the crowd go bonkers, of course. And I've got goosebumps, guys.
It was unannounced.
The
Rock gets a pop.
Yeah.
And The Rock walks down. There's the shot we've all seen, or numerous shots and pictures of Cody looking at The Rock. The Rock extends his hand to Cody. Cody shakes it. They hug. Rock whispers something in his ear, and Cody smiles and leaves the ring.
It's a smile. Let's rephrase that. He smiled technically, but he looked dead.
The Rock thinks you should f*** off, Cody.
So Cody nods at The Rock and walks out, and The Rock just stands there, eventually turns, faces Roman Reigns. Crowd are chanting, the face-off. The stare down closes out the show. But that was really only just the beginning of all this, especially on social media over the weekend. Gents, the floor is yours. I sense you have something to say about this, Sidge.
Yeah, I just made some notes. I'm going to let Hamflet unpack in depth why this could not have been even dumber. In fact, that's wrong. It was even dumber than I thought, and I thought whilst watching it, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire wrestling fandom. And it gets worse, apparently, because according to Dave Meltzer's reporting, this was signed, sealed, delivered on January 3rd, 2024, in advance of Cody somehow still winning the Rumble. This was the plan all along. Apparently, this is a shifting story. It will change, I gather, as the days and weeks unfold.
Known only to an inner circle, which might explain why Triple H was booking one thing without the knowledge of the three in the inner circle.
Just point at the sign.
Well, but don't in Triple H,
don't book him to win.
In Triple H's mind, he's like, well, full steam ahead for the by-election, and then it's like three people that know otherwise are going, you're going to tell him? Somebody probably should. Like, but if we tell him Monday? No,
if it's just Nick Khan and Dwayne who know this plan, just tell Triple H.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do about it, apparently.
It's quite funny that he was kept out of the loop, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. It's so stupid on every conceivable level. I'll let Hamflet unpack it in depth as to why it was as stupid as it was, because I'm going to go through the permutations and I'm going to field, I guess, a lot of what next? Why is this happening? What could possibly happen now that they pivot, or are they going to pivot? I'm going to try and square that off. But one thing I have to say is it would have been terrible, risible even, had on Monday night, Cody have just said, you know what, Seth, you've made an absolutely great case. I'm going to go for that title instead. And then they just have Roman cut a promo, say, I've got no challenges left, acknowledge me, smell what the Rock's cooking, do the face, and then do the face-to-face. People would still be pissed. People would still be pissed that Cody was not finishing the story as he outlined on his second ever appearance upon returning to WWE. That title is why he's back and he's going to win it. People would still be pissed to high heaven, but you do it in a slightly less what are you doing kind of way. So I've made some notes here. I'll go through them. I'll itemize them and cross them off as I go. So number 1, The Rock has not deliberately engineered a new yes movement, because what if people just went, hey, The Rock and Roman, this is massive, this is box office, this is one of the biggest WWE matches ever, can't wait for this, I'll accept Cody versus Seth if it means I get this, right? Mm-hmm. That's probably what they thought was going to happen. Yeah. Can you imagine if that was a reaction? They went, oh no, don't worry about it. Me, The Rock, humble Hollywood megastar, I'm engineering this so that you like Cody Rhodes a bit more, right? Never happening. The Rock has come back to get cheered, to do his very tired patter, which is sometimes still good because of the delivery and the sentimentality. He has come back to get cheered against the biggest baddie. That's what's happened here. Well, that was it's not what's happened here at all, but that was the intention here. So there was no deliberate engineering of a new Daniel Bryan movement, because, and I think Bryan Danielson is one of the 2 greatest wrestlers of all time. Principally, why they haven't, in my opinion, engineered a new yes movement is because Cody Rhodes in this version of WWE is a bigger draw. So they don't need a new Daniel Bryan. They've got Cody Rhodes already. They might have thought, oh, well, if we do this, the byproduct will be some people will get pissed and Cody might even get more popular as a result. That might have been a consideration. That was not the primary motivator here. Right, in terms of people are saying they have to pivot, surely they have to pivot. They'll have seen the online response, yada, yada, yada. I said this on the Raw preview. I'll echo that here. Historically, WWE have perceived online fans, I hate this expression more than anything, it suggests a hive mind, which is deeply ironic considering the arguments you see every single day on Twitter. But the IWC, not a hive mind, of course it isn't, like, it's ridiculous. I'm on X, I read comment sections, you can't agree on anything, right? WWE has absolute disdain towards the people who like the product the most, the people who are most engaged, the people who will never go away. Hate them. Absolutely always hated them. And it's not just Vince and his, I know what you people want better than you do. And his, what was he said? Him after he was told that people didn't like the Corbin Angle deal at WrestleMania 35. That was the attitude, made plain. And that's someone who was there. They will see this response, in my opinion, and think, oh, it's just the hardcores. It's just these online. It's bizarre world out there. And the idea that will support their mentality here is that, one, The Rock's a completely out of touch, aloof megastar. He will always believe he can get himself cheered. And the reaction to the stare down was favorable. It just was. People went ballistic at the idea of Rock and Roman coming together. They, I imagine, will see all of that and think, all right, cool, well, I'll forget those online nerds and those hashtags. It's Bizarro world. Listen to the fans in the building. And that will reinforce their opinion that this was a good idea all along. Now, I'm not saying they won't pivot. I'm not saying that there won't be a permutation here where they feel like they have no choice but to kind of change plans, because this could be a horrendous look. This could be the moment that sparks the decline in this resurgence. Very quickly, I might add. I did not expect it to come this soon.
I felt it after the Rumble. Yeah. I was like, this is going to happen at 40 rather than 41. There was a certain cloud of season finale about this run.
So Dave Meltzer, who I ordinarily agree with a lot of the time, who I hold in the utmost respect, even though he's had some horror shows over the past 1 or 2 years, in terms of certain people he supported when he shouldn't have, right? He believes it's now been turned into an angle because there are members of the roster tweeting, "We want Cody." Logan Paul has tweeted, "We want Cody." Yep. You've got an explanation as to why that might be?
Yes. Not to get too much into this, but I think when Logan Paul was, more of a social media star, Vine, etc., he did a few things, few co-promotions with The Rock to promote some of The Rock's movies and what have you. And then obviously when all the Japanese forest stuff came out, I believe Rock's publicist got in touch with Logan or Logan's manager or whoever it is and told him, please delete all videos that you have on your channel with The Rock, because he didn't want to be associated with the negative publicity of what Logan was going through then, which is understandable. And so he thinks that, I don't know, Cody's a better guy for that reason. I think Rock, I don't agree with a lot that he's done recently, but I think he's kind of justified with that one.
Yeah.
So that explains the Logan Paul element. Ricochet has also tweeted, "We want Cody," but underneath he said, "The Rock's one of my all-time favorite guys," so I wouldn't mind if that happened either.
Yeah, we call that the Adam Wilborn strategy.
Yes, of course. He's playing both sides, so that way he always comes out on top, right? I
just lost a bet.
Ricochet, incredible athlete. He's worked some incredible matches. He'll do things with his body, the likes of which I could work out. I could discover the fountain of youth and never, ever be as good as an athlete as he is. He's incredible. He's had horror show nightmares on social media before, Ricochet, where he just doesn't know when to just zip it. He's fallen afoul of the comment section and his replies before. He had this quasi beef with Io Shirai when someone pointed out to him, "Oh, she's a great high flyer, just like you." And I think he tweeted and deleted, "Yeah, I can do everything she can do. She can't do everything I can do." He's had a beef with Ethan Page where he came off horrendously, like body shaming him, etc. Basically, Ricochet has had previous of being stupid on socials, so maybe he's not been chosen to lead this sort of social media backlash on behalf of the roster, and they're going to pivot it and make him Daniel Bryan. It's just as likely for me that Ricochet has said this when he probably should have just said nothing at all. So I'm not convinced it's been turned into an angle on the basis of those tweets from those wrestlers.
Yeah.
Right? Another reason why I can't see a pivot happening is they've got two huge matches, and it's an even more huge conundrum than this time last year. If you recall, it was, well, Sami Zayn is hugely over. Sami Zayn isn't just in the arena over, contrarian over. He is pulling numbers for these segments. And the exact debate last time was, well, can it not just be Sami Zayn instead of Cody? Are people going to revolt and all the rest of it? They had two matches last year and did them both. They've got two massive matches now, and it's Cody versus Roman and Rock versus Roman. Those two matches are huge. Both matches were either confirmed or telegraphed by Cody saying, not at WrestleMania, but I will get you. I cannot, for the life of me, imagine WWE, with the fact that they've got shareholders who basically demand all the money imaginable, splicing those two matches together in a triple threat. Why would you put those two huge mega money matches into one? And that one version is bittersweet and it's like a compromise. I just cannot see them doing that at all.
So just to cut in there, I don't think this is going to happen. Is there a belief that they might believe they're giving away neither? Is there a bit of a Ronda, Charlotte, Becky about it where it's like, oh, actually the singles match has been preserved?
Maybe.
I don't agree.
The Rock will do well to wrestle one match.
0% chance of a pivot, in my opinion, but just hit me there.
Yeah.
They've done that before where they thought we're keeping stuff.
I just cannot imagine they'll do a triple threat, nor, for that matter, can I imagine, like, you can't even get Roman Reigns to do a stadium show in Australia that's a canonical pay-per-view, PLE, Elimination Chamber, like, in the space between the Rumble and Mania, and people are expecting them to go back-to-back. People are expecting The Rock to do the job to Roman so that Roman then can drop the title to Cody. The original idea of Rock coming back was so he could be bigger than Cody this night. Roman Reigns is not going to work twice, and The Rock is not going to relegate himself to the Lex Luger position. Absolutely not happening at all. In terms of, well, they're going to have to do something with the crowd reaction. One, I don't know if they are. People will get under the spell of The Rock in Philadelphia. They just will. And even if they don't, the other pivot that people aren't talking about is that Roman can be situational babyface here, and The Rock can play heel as long as you get that marquee singles match and it's the big one-on-one. Like, wrestlers don't get into this to do triple threats at WrestleMania. They do it to be the one-on-one, to do the Hogan Savage, Hogan Andre. That's just how big business and big egos work. So I can't see any of the pivots. One more thing. It's nostalgic, isn't it? The Fed just being rubbish and getting in their own way and being antagonistic and having an absolute crap of their trousers on. That was just one little note there. Number 6, this absolutely kills the Rumble, which, you know, they've done a massive business number for it. Gate, viewership on Peacock. But there've been way more savaged ones than acclaimed ones of late. And the idea of this match that is the hardest one to endure, the ultimate stakes for the impossible victory. You have to outlast 29 other men. And if you manage to do that, you get to go to the biggest show in the main event. Mm-hmm. Statistically, that's not even true, less than half of the time, but it's still something they persist with. It just buries the Rumble in retrospect if you just go, I won the Rumble, but I don't care about it. Oh my God, are you joking? It's absolutely preposterous, and maybe the Rumble is such an entrenched institution that you cannot kill it even with 1,000 cuts. But my God, they're on the 900 at this point with that gimmick match. It really is. I don't think it's in any danger, but this year's at least. What a waste of bloody time, and the show itself was mid. Right, I've gone through the permutations. Hamflet, tell the people why this was as stupid as it was. And I want you to do a good job here, and I think you can do a good job on every level.
Thanks, The Rock.
There were own goals here.
Yeah.
They're already through the match. There were own goals scored here that they did not need to score.
Generationally terrible booking this segment. This is the worst piece of WWE television playing out as it was supposed to that I've seen since the belt swap between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. I would put it on that level.
Permutation's much bigger as well.
Yeah, the stakes were way higher. That was just a sad night. Like, what has all this become? You know, I would hold that segment aloft as the, like, Vince McMahon, you've blown your monopoly, you've blown everything. You've destroyed every last little bit of what this was, and now we just watch this sort of mangled version of it. And that's kind of what we watched get burned down on Friday, because, you know, this isn't to sit and have a referendum on Triple H's booking style or how, like, WWE is.
Or The Rock's booking style, Nick Khan's booking style.
It's to say that since July 2022, he has rebuilt that. So if you think about that belt swap as just as bad as it all got and how that product looked, it was like, no, he has restored how a wrestling show is supposed to look. And wrestlers go from A to B to C, and they're supposed to go on these journeys and all the rest of it. Cody Rhodes at the absolute center of it. Like, he cut that promo 2 years ago, and yes, it was still in an old WWE, but the story is held firm. Cody Rhodes is held firm in the face of what now looks quaint WrestleMania 39 booking compared to what we saw on Friday. Like, that was if you were going to buy Paul Heyman's baseball analogies and Triple H's patronizing press conference stuff, you were led to believe that this was like old-fashioned test the big star stuff. How is Cody's year going to go? We think there's even bigger money in this, so we'll give him one more year. And he's done it. Yeah. He's passed every single test. Dominic Mysterio, Shinsuke Nakamura.
I mean, these are bad tests as well.
Group War Games things where it's just like, do you remember the SmackDown where like the Cody Rhodes was the last babyface in front of John Cena and his music cut off early and people just singing it to take on the Bloodline Judgment Day supergroup? All of this is just, we're going to make you do every babyface thing because you're drawing huge. You're making a bunch of money in like merchandise, house show, like the business gets hotter. You are, despite the fact that we made you eat at WrestleMania 39, you are proving that we were right to make you do it somehow. This is perfect for everybody. So Sidgwick's point about Daniel Bryan, and I made this point on the Raw preview that we've already recorded. This is not even that, because that would be like doing the Yes Movement with a John Cena or a Hulk Hogan. Cody Rhodes is not a Daniel Bryan. Cody Rhodes was not going to win the title and get fed.
So on a star.
Yeah, was not going to get fed to Kane. He was going to be the guy. You know, he was going to go on and be that. And there's already been that guy. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Like, without a title, without a name, he's already
Loads of people have been sharing that recently to back up the hashtag We Want Cody stuff of like Make-A-Wish stuff or him just, you know, there was the thing over the house show over the weekend with the legally
amazing.
blind person.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's become an absolutely disastrous cell phone because he's paid for that wrestling class to all go to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Scott Stott's mean. He's, Jesus Christ, he's going to be the best man at someone's wedding, so he's always the groomsman, never the groom. This could, like, all of these nice gestures are now being blown back in his face because he's been made to look a complete arsehole. Like, you don't even know which bit to focus on first. I should have taken the notes because in picking apart the segment, where do you go first? Do you look at the face-off between him and The Rock, and is it only dawning on The Rock in that moment of the situation in how it's actually going to play out, or does he simply not care? Mm-hmm. Is it like Roman Reigns, we'll get to him in a second, but Roman Reigns in that moment is still in this enough that he knows that this isn't the call, but there are battles to pick and there are hills to die on when you're in a position like Roman Reigns, and this was not that. He's not going to, he's like, I like Roman Reigns enough, and I quite like what he's achieved from a position, from the start that WWE gave him. I kind of love that he's made it anyway.
Yeah.
But the hill he's going to die on is not, no, we've all worked too hard for this, give Cody the match. Absolutely no chance, no way. And I honestly think, speculation on my part here, but I honestly think that Roman Reigns doing what he did before Cody even came out is comparable to Hulk Hogan and Sting at Starrcade 1997. In terms of I am doing this for me, I did not say everything I was going to say backstage. I've gone out there and I have not gone into business for myself, because there is an element where as a character you should say, well, Roman Reigns should have gone out there and said, Seth, I heard what you said on Monday. Like, that has not been forgotten. You do not speak about the tribal chief like that, and there will be a day for you. But anyway, I've understood I've got a decent business with Cody Rhodes, blows him off like that. And you just leave it there, because he's not then been made a bitch by Seth Rollins, the Hollywood title, all that stuff. Not least when Cody Rhodes comes out and tries to protect everybody's feelings. I didn't agree with what Seth said about your belt, Roman. And Roman's like, well, I don't care anymore because I buried him like below the surface of the earth. Like, Seth Rollins is never coming back. Seth Rollins' promo on Monday, burnt alive by Roman Reigns, incinerated by Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, in one promo that I think was an act of self-preservation, knowing how the segment was going to play out, undoes about 8 months of earnest hard work from Seth Rollins to get that toy belt over, just kills it, just puts a bullet in its head in one.
So unnecessary.
Promo, like, so unnecessary. And I have to assume that was based on he's in that ring being like, Jesus Christ, it's all gone dog eat dog, so I'll best get my bite in now. Like, he must be thinking that. He's like, I've been through every version of this stupid company and the way the business prowl, like, takes people out in the politics of it all, so I'll just, I'm going to have mine, because like, Rock's about to eat Cody's lunch, so I'll best get fed first. Honestly, like, I think he's... If one day all of this comes out that, like, Roman was following his instructions, then they're even dumber than you think they are, having watched the rest of it play out, because it just felt like... what you're watching is real. Somebody is just having a shot for self-preservation, and there's a bit of Shawn and Diesel at WrestleMania 11, because he's basically taking down one of his brothers to do it. Like, so much for the Shield Brotherhood. I guess Seth... me, I guess. I got a bum knee and I've cut the promo of my life to try and salvage some of this. And what kind of meeting is Triple H and Seth Rollins going to have backstage at Raw today? What do we make of that then, Paul? Like, under whose jurisdiction was that then? Like, what can Triple H, can he look Seth in the eye and say, yeah, that was me. When he got backstage, I shook his hand and said, thanks for that, Roman. Good work. So it's like, well, I think I'll get back on the bus and go. Like, it was that kind of level of destructive promo in the moment that there will be no consequences for. I'm saying all this, there will be no consequences. But in the moment, it was just when you think this can't get any worse, in retrospect, it does when you rethink how poor that promo was. The Rock and Roman Reigns is one of the only examples of a match I can think of where you do this, and there is one sort of, I don't want to say saving grace, but the one element of it where it can be justified is that it's that match. I don't think there are too many pairings in wrestling history that you could do everything of this and then be like, but it's okay. Like, again, to go back to Daniel Bryan, the option that was being presented was friggin' Batista versus Randy Orton. Yeah. Like a 6-7-year-old story that nobody wanted to watch anymore. So that was another reason why it was like, this needs to be, Bryan's back, and now all of these guys are ancient, this is dead, this is a you thing, this is not an us thing. Like, Rock and Roman is still enormous.
My wife was absolutely jazzed when The Rock came out.
Loads of people
just went on Twitter downstairs, and I think someone had written an article about the latest update on the issues about what's just happened. And your wife just replied saying, what issue? I want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Loads of people will think that. Yeah. I thought the exact same thing about Sidge. I thought if it flips on the night, like, we've forgotten how to be nice about The Rock, funnily enough, in this last 48 hours. But if it flips on the night, there's no one better in the ring to make it work than The Rock. Historically,
why do they hate Philadelphia WWE so much?
Well, it's fantastic that that's happening in Philadelphia again, isn't it? The Rumble 15.
So, the whole thing's weird. Like, the prevailing thing about the Seth Rollins promo was like, it was the most hollow, terrifying premise articulated as well as they could have done it.
Yeah.
I don't think they could have done a better job of delivering the bad news, and then they've given you the bad news and undone the hard work of Seth Rollins on that night as well. Absolutely ridiculous.
In kayfabe, in canon, Cody Rhodes says to Seth Rollins, I'll think about it, right? And then on Friday, Roman Reigns says all of that, and Cody Rhodes goes, I've thought about it. I like my chances against that loser you were just talking about. Like, that is a disaster for the Cody Rhodes character, and there are...
Not really. It's going to... Well, people are massively behind him, yeah.
But like, sort of in terms of like... Now,
if any of it made sense.
Yeah, narratively...
In fiction.
Yeah, he can't square it in the fiction. Like, narratively, that isn't him or any of this. I think there's a 0% chance they pivot, by the way.
Even if they do, and I put my cards on the table, I don't think they do. Even if they do, well done, idiots. You've just destroyed the two biggest matches you've had, and you're going to get a compromise of one of them, because Roman Reigns is not working back-to-back.
There's a lot of wild fantasy booking and copium, whatever you want to call it.
Desperation.
People suggesting, like you say, triple threats or night 1, night 2, or what if they did like Rock, Cody in Elimination Chamber, or all this sort of stuff, right? And I want to give a shout out to, I will get to all the questions, I promise. There's so many questions that people have been asking about this. Dan of the Dragons, I think it was, who summed up my perspective on all this. Where's the comment gone? He basically said, I'm so annoyed because this is exactly what I wanted, but not like this, basically. Hey, I'm so wound up. I want to see The Rock versus Roman so much, just not like this. Like, Rock versus Roman, I have no issue. I love The Rock. I'm still excited about going to WrestleMania to see The Rock. I've said this before. He was my idol growing up. I'm very excited to see
him and
that.
Jim
Carrey, yeah. But not this. Like, what's stopping you from 41?
Yeah,
if we waited this bloody long, I know they're not now. It's
that's another point before we have to get the SmackDown. Like, what a dick! He could have done this last year, the year before, and he's waited for it to get hot. And it's not. He hasn't just waited for it to get hot. He has, like, been so desperate to the point where he'll set on fire the best thing WWE has done in fiction as a plan, is something they intended for 20 years.
Yeah.
This rise of Cody Rhodes, other than John Cena being the guy, right? This is the biggest thing they've done in years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And he's done it now.
Yeah.
Just wait a year. Why is he so desperate? I know he's not getting the biggest leads anymore, and he's had a few bombs at the box office.
This is where that speculation comes in, especially this news like the January 3rd inner circle that knew it. The Rock, as we know it right now, until other facts present themselves or other stories come out, The Rock just fancied it. Like, for personal, political, or
really
career
wants
reasons,
it.
he just fancied it, and he got to say what when. He's doing this as the boss. Do you know what I mean? He's doing this as the boss. He's Triple H's gaffer, and he's doing it now. And that doesn't make a difference in terms of The Rock having a stroke to be able to get away with this, but it also only adds to the ugliness of it, that, like, hey, I'm kind of in charge, actually. And my mate Brian is going to come on board Triple H and just sit together. We're just going to tweak some stuff, yeah? Like, all that kind of thing is, again, like, it's us speculating on where The Rock's career aspirations lie, or how much he wants to be in it, or if it's just a one and done or whatever. It's just, on that, right, related to that, I understand that.
It's the worst management figure since Kip Frey. He is.
When me and Sidge were messaging this over the weekend, Sidge, like, admitted outright, like, it's great that, you put it in your points, it's great that WWE have done this. It's been a while since they've done something so disastrously bad that we can have a lot of fun with it.
It's interesting. The ghosts.
I think there is really something to this, right? What Triple H has done, or WWE as a creative entity have done for the first time in about 2 years. I don't know the demographic of, like, the young fans, and I don't know if they were doing another John Cena run where a bunch of younger fans were coming in and this was great for their, like, future fan base or whatever. But I do know that a bunch of fans were very, very satisfied and felt rewarded by WWE, and the gates bear that out, and the reactions on most TV shows bear that out to a load of the different characters. And I know that also as some, like, an older fan that just wanted to like a version of WWE, that's been that as well. And I think there's probably plenty of me's out there that are just of a certain age that thought this is never going to be entertaining again. And I've been really enjoying it. Like, feel sad. Like, irony is okay. Sincerity is scary. People don't like.
I wouldn't quote him.
When you can engage in something fully, and you've been entitled to engage in it fully over the last sort of like 2 years, Cody especially, but like WWE writ large, this domino falling kind of reminds you, it could all just be this again, and it could all just be chaos era. AEW fans or people that like enjoy the misery of WWE fans should absolutely rip the piss. This is a good day for them, but like it's worse than just the 2014 Daniel Bryan, whatever, pick your favorite, Dolph Ziggler, whoever. It's way worse. It's way worse.
Way dumber.
Way dumber, because those fans were itching for an AEW. Those fans were itching for a New Japan and got it. Those fans like were itching for an NXT, and that was within WWE's purview. This is different. They had them, and they stand to lose them, and you never really forget that first time that your sort of heart gets broken by this sort of thing.
Here's a question before we move on to the other questions in the review of the TV show. That's completely immaterial. Say it's all correct what they said. Roman beats Rock. Then Cody says, I don't know, it's SummerSlam or even the WrestleMania after. I'm still coming for you. I'm going to finish the story. I want that title. Is there a way to salvage it, basically, by Roman beating Rock? Then again, Rock said he wants the belt. Can they just park it a year, or is this one thing really enough for people to go, I'll never trust them again?
Speaking to somebody that just never switched off.
You're the wrong person.
I'm a bad example for this.
Ass.
What I will say, though, is Cody sort of has to lose to Seth for that to play out. Because
he could
wins,
drop the title to anyone and then go after Roman.
I suppose. Yeah, like this is it. It all feels more weighty now. Just everything.
One thing I'll say as well, just to answer my own question, sorry, Wilborn, very quickly, is that no one stays over that long forever. There's a finite number of years. They could burn through every bit of investment that these fans vocally, audibly, financially have in Cody Rhodes right now. By the time he actually gets the belt, they might start to turn. People turn on everyone. People turn on MJF most recently. People turned on Austin in the year 2000 late. Kind of. Yep. It's not the same, but they slowly got a bit disinterested there. Like, name a wrestler, people got bored of them, or there was a backlash at some point, especially in the weekly episodic primetime cable era.
I was worried they were going to do that for Cody this year.
Yeah,
I was worried, are you going to make it? All right, you get Brock. That's kind of that gives you till sort of SummerSlam. Then you still have to do loads of feuds where people go, well, Cody's not going to lose this feud because he's on the road to WrestleMania. And he's won the Rumble again. Like, some people were saying it then. He's won the Rumble again. That's annoying. But for the most part, people are like, no, we need this because it's obvious this is
people are getting bored of John Moxley in AEW, or not bored,
Bianca
but
Belair
like...
got it for a bit, didn't she?
Yeah, John Moxley in AEW in 2020, like, people needed him. Yeah. People saw him as the best guy to have been involved in pro wrestling performance and the human being we think we can tell. People were grateful for John Moxley. He was like the most universal, unifying ace. And now people are like, you should take a holiday. It happens to them all, and they could do this to him, Cody Rhodes, before he even wins the belt.
And as well, right, it's the rise of a star like Cody's. It's not just aura. It's not just the magic power of a superstar. It's booking. So when The Rock potentially sets fire to this
the
match...
1999 WCW roster and who they had, Goldberg, Sting, DDP, didn't make a difference.
The Rock isn't just setting fire to Cody right now. In order to preserve Cody and Roman for 39, you had to burn through Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn as credible babyface challengers to Roman Reigns. In order to preserve Cody, you had to have him go over pretty much the whole mid-card this year, and you had to have Roman Reigns definitely, without a doubt, beat LA Knight and Randy Orton conclusively, right? All of those bodies are getting burned by this as well, because their pushes had to die for this bigger plan of Roman versus either 39 or 40, the bigger plan. I remember saying this time last year. I was like, I get the worry about the Sami and Cody thing, but I'm not actually worried about it. I just think Cody's the guy and people see that. And I even think that's when Sami loses at Elimination Chamber, it's going to be all right.
And you'll look back in May and say, it's all worth it.
Yeah. Like, they've done that over and over again, premised on the idea that he would win at 39. They've bought your patience to get you to WrestleMania 40. I don't care anymore about that arsehole, but like, Brock Lesnar was willing to be like, I'll endorse him, whatever. Like, John Cena came back to put LA Knight over to lose to Roman Reigns. Like, there are so many things, because it's a booked fictional product that get Cody Rhodes to
House
this
of
point
Cards, isn't it?
for The Rock to go, nope. And then that's all like...
Yeah. If it happens as well next year, it'll probably just be a formality, and then that's not interesting.
Yeah.
No. And what's had to happen in the 12 months, like Cody defending a belt that Roman has buried, just to keep busy.
Yeah, it could all be a formality that no one cares about anymore by the time it actually happens.
Just a quick word on this fan backlash, because a lot of people in the chat saying we want Cody, understandably.
Good hashtag, that would be.
But you've had it trending, like 400,000 tweets or whatever it was that was trending. It was trending above Real Madrid and Mbappe over the weekend, which is insane to think. It's been reported on by Forbes and like TMZ and things like that. The YouTube video has had, I think, like 500,000 dislikes to 100,000 likes for The Rock, for example, which they've still edited Cody's thing out of. There's talk of a hijack for tonight's Raw in St. Louis. None of that's going to change their mind.
Nah. Like, look,
it keeps going. SmackDowns and Raws, and I mean, Vengeance Day had it already.
People get used to stuff. The Rock and Roman Reigns as a match is pretty powerful. Again, they're not on a platform of nothing here. You know, this is not foundations made of sand. It's still The Rock and Roman Reigns. The Cody Rhodes problem won't go away, and that includes if he beats Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. It might get worse because people won't just have the faith anymore that he can get it done, or have faith in the machine to keep him there. That's the thing. Like the booking
They
rebuilt.
might want this tension next year.
Yeah, like
they might want it for how much of a formality this could end up being.
The booking rebuilt a lot of faith in the company's ability to make the most of suddenly what was in their lap and the stars and the rest of it, and that might go. You never know until ages after the fact. In reality, it's another point I was going to make as well about just about like them not. Yeah, this was it. I saw like I tweeted about this. So if you follow me on X, you might have already read a version of this. Saw a lot of people trying to suggest that
Someone in the chats are saying this, by the way.
they'll do anything to divert attention from the scandal, the
feds
sex trafficking lawsuit. Shut up. This is a bad take, right? We are talking about this today on our wrestling podcast about wrestling. On another day, in a news piece or in actual federal investigations, Vince McMahon and WWE and John Laurinaitis have been filed suit for sex trafficking, right? You risk trivializing that very, very serious and disgusting document and everything associated with that case by the mere suggestion that this bullshit is in any way tied to it. Get off that one. Like, I almost get, because we've learned in like the Trumpian era to see like distraction politics. Vince McMahon's mustache was to make people talk about a mustache rather than the hush money, because it's like, oh, he's back. Wasn't there the hush money thing? Look at his back. Like, that's a literal distraction in action. The federal investigators are not stopping there going through the evidence because of a wacky segment on SmackDown. This is trivial fluff. It's fun to debate, even if you're laughing at how wrong it's gone or whatever. It's just a TV show. Get off that one, because it's like...
The booking decision predates the filing of the suit or the publication becoming public.
So the evidence supports that. But like, I do get why people have sort of seen it a bit, but like, who gives a toss about conversation like WWE don't? That's another reason why I think it's a 0% chance of a pivot, because it's just a bit of discourse. It's just a Forbes article today. It barely exists tomorrow. Like, there's been more toxic buildings than I think The Rock will walk out to between now and WrestleMania. I could be proved wrong on that. If he, like, what was the one where he didn't work the night after SummerSlam 2002 because he was genuinely wrong-footed by how much those New Jersey fans hated him.
He's like, I might work it, I might not.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
didn't work it.
Aye. So there is a bit of history to suggest.
He's not got a poker face, so it should be funny if all this happens.
But do I think the buildings are going to be that bad? Probably not. I don't think we're going to hit Rumble 2015.
Different time.
I think that, like, I think it's foolish and naive to underestimate the discord in this audience. I do think this audience is a new audience that cares. I think we're past the point where, like 2021 when Sidge went, they all just went to AEW. They did. But this is definitely there's an upgrade to this audience now that will feel really alienated by this. But to the extent where hijacks make a difference, I don't reckon so. No. And like, loads of the shows are still pretty good. It's like, it's that top-down thing. It's like WWE fans going to WWE shows, and I would consider myself one if I could, would largely have a good time. And then Cody Rhodes comes out and you'd be reminded, they almost had it perfect.
Yeah.
Like, the Judgment Day come out and they're like, great Judgment Day here. And then, like, sort of Damage Control, like, have a big segment like they got on the SmackDown, and I have huge problems with that, by the way. But fundamentally, I was like, Bayley's come back as a babyface, great. There's loads at WrestleMania I can't wait for, tinged with a little bit of really knackered Cody. That could have been special. That's not worth them like undoing all their plans for that.